What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Book It Better WWF 1994 Rebook YouTube series. I am Max Whitman. I am joined today via satellite by the Professor. Maxine Whitman is not with us today, as much as all of you would have loved to have had her back. But we are up to Monday Night Raw, Week 2 of August, leading into SummerSlam. We're going to open up with our pre-show. Professor, thank you for joining us. I know you are super excited for Monday Night Raw tonight.
I somehow hope that this can top in your house, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, we're opening hot. I mean, we're opening with our Jeff and Sparkplug storyline, which is really got some momentum behind it right now. As we see Jeff and Sparkplug, they're back at it. Jeff he's got his Toyota Tercel, and he's got Sparkplug back in there. And we're going to have a little bit of a disagreement here, because Jeff wants to put Nirvana on the radio, and Sparkplug wants Dolly Parton. The two are going to argue. Jeff says it's his car. Sparkplug says, no, it's not. Your mom bought it for you. And Jeff says, well, you know what, Sparkplug? You're not my real dad. Don't boss me around. Sparkplug punches and breaks the radio and walks off. So again, they're trying to make this work, but Sparkplug he's just having a tough time getting along with young Jeff Hardy.
You have spent more time in the last 40 seconds thinking of a Sparkplug storyline than anyone did in his entire career.
You know what? Well, that's what we're here for. That's why this is Book It Better, not Book It the Same.
Good point. I concede.
Moving on. Well, let's see if there were any worker improvements here. No, there were no worker improvements here. We'll move on to our next segment here. This is Tatanka versus the Navajo Kid. We got the Navajo Kid. He's a youngster from, where's he from? Well, I don't know where he's from, but it must be from the New York area.
Would it be Navajo?
He could be from the Navajo area, I suppose. Were there Navajos in New York? I don't know. All I know is that he's a local worker. We're paying him $300 for this match. And they have pretty good chemistry. But the Navajo Kid's in-ring performance is a 12. And Tatanka's a 72. So it gets us a 54 rated match. We'll spoil a little bit here and say that the purpose of this match, this is a tryout match for the Navajo Kid. And he's trying to earn a contract. Professor, what do you think?
Well, he tried really hard, but based on his ratings, I say we keep him. I say we keep.
You say we keep him.
I say we still have Dink on our roster, so
Dink actually just signed a long-term extension. Dink now works only for us. He signed a 3-year deal. He'll be making $3,500 a month to work exclusively for the World Wrestling Federation.
I'm sure he had lots of contract offers.
It was tough. It was a heavy negotiation, but we got the job done in the end. So yes.
Your excellent negotiation skills saved the Dink contract when we thought it was on the brink of collapsing.
Well, either way, we bring in the Navajo Kid for a tryout match here. He performs horribly. Tatanka carries him through. Yes, we did put him against Tatanka because they're both Native Americans. So, say to that what you wish.
Now I get it.
Let's move on to our next segment here.
What is it? What is a 12?
It's our big match. So, you were going to say something. What is a 12? What?
Oh, well, let's just move on because This looks fantastic.
All right, so this is our pre-show main event of the evening. In a terrible pre-show match, Bushwhacker, all these dudes, so it's Luke, Bush, Duke Droese, Doink the Clown, and Eddie Guerrero, they're going to defeat Dink, Billy Kidman, Dick the Hammer Dick, Crooked Dick Johnny Hogg, and Lance Storm in a War Games match in 25.5 minutes when Eddie Guerrero defeats Crooked Dick Johnny Hogg by submission. And in terms of in-ring work, Eddie Guerrero was head and shoulders above everyone else with a 58. So the facts... Go ahead.
So imagine being at like the Blue Cross Arena and you walk in and there's 2 rings and you're like, oh man, what kind of match am I going to see? You see the War Games cage and then you see it lowered and then the first person you see is Bushwhacker Luke.
I would be so excited.
Actually, I kind of want to see this match now.
Yeah, like realistically, I would love to see a jobber War Games match. Although not really a jobber because Eddie Guerrero's in it and Lance Storm is in it, and Dink is in it. And Dink's one of our budding main event stars. So I love that Dink is in like everything. Dink, he's got his hands in a little bit of everything.
Because he's so tiny.
He's got his little hands and everything.
He's got his little tiny baby hands. Just touching everything.
That's terrible.
When he signed his contract, we had to give him a little tiny like notepad.
Oh my goodness, this is terrible. Before we go,
do you think he uses like those mini golf pencils?
This is awful. He's a person. He's a human being. But he's a clown, so we're allowed to laugh at his misfortunes.
What if our only fan is
a little person?
Yeah.
Well, then I apologize because now we have no fans.
Yep.
So I beg your forgiveness. We are actually pushing Dink. He is winning his matches. He didn't win this one, but he is winning his matches. So if only we had a light heavyweight title, hint hint, that maybe Dink could compete for. But for now, he'll have to be the main star attraction of our Jobber War Games match. Before we move on to our televised show, I do want to say that on our last episode, the Maxi Pad, Maxine Whitman, and I were debating whether or not Crush was still alive. Maxine had asked if any of the workers that were in the tag team match we booked were actually still alive. And I told her that I believed Crush was still alive. That's incorrect. Crush passed away in 2007. So no, both members of that tag team, unfortunately, are no longer with us. But they're here and alive and well in 1994. And they are a featured part of our little project here. So I wanted to clarify that. I am aware that Crush is no longer with us, and we are sad. Moving on. Eddie Guerrero says you can't see this on our recording here once again because something I can't quite figure out how to capture all these pop-ups. But Eddie Guerrero says that I can perform better if you use me in matches that suit my skills. Putting me in a brawl-based match does not play to my strength. Billy Kidman thinks the same thing. Lance Storm feels the same way. Well,
they're a bunch of complainers.
They're a bunch of complainers. You're the main event of the pre-show. You're in a War Games match. Get it together, guys. Yeah.
Show some respect.
Good lord. Anyway, so we're going to open our show here. And we've got Razor Ramon opening up against IRS. It's a decent match, just your pretty standard opening one-on-one match. Razor defeats IRS in just under 10 minutes by pinfall with the Razor's Edge. Gets the show off to a strong start and scores a 77 for a B to open the show. So I think that's a good solid match here. IRS is getting jobbed out to everybody. I just never particularly cared for IRS all that much, frankly.
Well, no one likes doing their taxes.
That's true. Least of all, Razor Ramon.
I'm sure. I think he did his taxes. I
think he probably had a guy.
Yeah, like he's not Ric Flair.
Right. Let's move on.
I'm offending everyone tonight, aren't we?
Yeah. What if our only fan is Ric Flair? This is gonna be we get Bam Bam Bigelow and Ted DiBiase. Bam Bam is cutting a standard promo. DiBiase comes in and says he has a deal even more lucrative than the world title. Bam Bam looks intrigued, and we cut away. What could be happening here, Professor?
I'm focused on Bam Bam Bigelow's face. Like, it looks like he's Like someone just asked him a rhetorical question, and he doesn't understand that you can't answer it, and he's just super upset by it.
Bam Bam looks like me on the drive home from a Hooters. Like, Bam Bam looks like me where I'm convinced, well, this is it. I'm going to crap in my car. That's what's going to happen. And that's the best case scenario for me right now. That's the face I make when I'm in that situation. Moving.
Yeah. I have nothing to add.
Moving on here, we get Chris Jericho and Randy Savage. Jericho is out in the ring. He cuts a promo. He's accepting Macho Man's challenge here. So last week, Macho comes right out, lays down the challenge at SummerSlam. You want to take out the old dinosaurs? Here I am. Bring it on. We'll do it at SummerSlam. Chris Jericho is coming out this week, and he's saying, sure, I'm down for it. Let's do it. I will make you look old and slow. Ooh.
I have one issue with Macho Man's claim about taking out the dinosaurs.
Okay.
Dinosaurs aren't real. So.
Well, that would be Chris Jericho's claim about taking out the dinosaurs. And dinosaurs are real. They're just extinct.
Jericho's going to become a flat earther.
Yeah, right. That's his new gimmick. He's a conspiracy theorist for everything. He's a flat earther. He believes that Linda McMahon and Vince McMahon are reptilians who reside in the center of the earth.
I thought he was going to say they're the same person.
They could very well be the same person. Well, regardless, Jericho struggles when going off script here. But Randy Savage is superb without a script. He had the crowd in the palm of his hand. I'm going to say this might have just been an off night for Jericho, because he has done well without a script in the past. It could also be because Savage is so good without a script that he threw Jericho off a little bit. Jericho's still young. He's a 24-year-old kid. He's still learning the ropes. But the segment gets an 87. Savage is a walking A-plus grade. He really is. And I'm kind of excited to see this feud develop. And then that match at SummerSlam come out of this. So the Jericho Rise storyline advances, and it gains heat. Savage does the job here, cutting a great promo.
Did anyone actually understand a word Savage said, though?
Ooh, no, nobody understands him.
Is Steiner with WCW at this point? Because I want us to make a play for Steiner.
I would have to check afterwards. I think he might be with New Japan.
Okay.
I'd have to check. I don't think he's with WCW. And I want to say that he didn't sign with I don't know. I think he's with New Japan. Why? Okay. You want to get the fantastic mic work of Scott Steiner?
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for a Steiner push.
What if we have Steiner versus Sid Vicious in a promo off?
They have to do they have in the pre-show. They have to take the SATs.
What if we do a Steiner versus Sid microphone on a pole match, and whoever gets to the microphone first has to forces the other one to cut a promo and embarrass himself.
Ooh, I like that. I do.
I see where we're going with this.
Maybe there's a spelling bee involved.
There could be a spelling bee involved. Very short one, but there could definitely be a spelling bee involved.
And after watching that angle, that explains Bam Bam Bigelow's face.
Yeah, because he's worried that they're going to put him in the spelling bee. He's like, all right, Bam Bam, just stay in the back here. They're not going to put you in. Bam Bam, shit.
He's going to camouflage himself in flames. He's just going to light a fire in the backstage area.
Stand by the fireplace. They can't see you. They can't see you. You're okay. But yeah, I'll have to look into that. And if you're listening, you'll have to listen to our creative meetings to see if we go in that direction with the spelling bee. You can find our creative meetings on the iTunes store. Shameless plug.
That was a good plug.
Right? Next segment.
You're getting better.
Oh, I'm getting real good. Getting real good. All right, so we get Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler here. It's a superb match. Bret defeats Jerry Lawler in 10.5 minutes when Lawler was disqualified when Owen ran in and attacked Bret Hart. We also had a Jim Neidhart run in, and he attacked Bret Hart as well. So basically we're getting a DQ here. It's Bret versus Jerry Lawler. The match doesn't get to finish. At around the 10-minute mark, Owen and Neidhart run in, and they're going to beat down Bret Hart. Just once again, Bret taking another I almost said ass pounding. Bret takes another ass kicking at the hands of Owen and the Anvil. He did not take an ass pounding from Owen and the Anvil. It advances our Bret versus Owen storyline. It gains heat. Lawler has a performance of 67. Bret pulls an 89. Just a standard Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler match.
Yeah, nothing exciting it seems. Jim Neidhart. Some are saying he's actually still in the ring, stroking his beard. I'm not even gonna go back to it. Let's just. I love Jerry Lawler's OkCupid profile picture here. This is a great profile picture for Jerry Lawler. Let's move on. What a creep. What a creep.
Alright, so this is just, it's Bret Hart selling the beatdown after the match, as Owen and the Anvil celebrate that they beat him down again. It's pretty simple. Speaking of that glorious beard, there it is.
Every once in a while, my dad will grow a beard like that. And he looks like the Anvil.
He looks like Jim Neidhart. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Your dad might be Jim Neidhart. You just never knew it.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
Not enough. Well, not enough cocaine usage.
That's. Was he a cocaine? Was he a cocaine addict?
I believe Bret. I believe it was actually crack, and that's straight from Bret Hart's book. So that's not me making assumptions. Although it is me making assumptions, but it was Bret leading me to make those assumptions. Yes, Bret says that that Neidhart was quite a fan of the nose candy. So we also have written Bret sells a beatdown, and we've written it like a 13-year-old girl in middle school might write it, and I like that.
It'll look great on our MySpace profile.
Moving on to the next segment. We have an angle featuring Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, and Gorilla Monsoon. So basically what's happening here is Razor is asking Gorilla Monsoon for a rematch. He knows Gorilla saw HBK cheat. He helped Diesel win. He knows it. He knows Monsoon knows it. HBK arrives and says, well, hey, I beat Razor last week. I beat him clean. I should be the one to get that Intercontinental title shot. Monsoon says, no, you didn't really. You cheated to help Diesel win. I'm giving Razor his rematch. So HBK leaves. He storms off angry. Razor's happy. He's getting his rematch. And Gorilla Monsoon is, well, he looks like every 1970s serial killer with these glasses on.
Yeah, what is Gorilla Monsoon known for outside of getting Vader bombed? That's the only memory I have of Monsoon.
Yeah, he's before our time. Before our time. I don't want to hate on Gorilla, but
I will.
Well, that's kind of your shtick.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about Gorilla Monsoon. Sorry, Gorilla Monsoon marks.
Sorry to all the Gorilla Monsoon. I wonder how long if I went and I polled every wrestling fan I came across. I wonder how long I would go before I found someone who said that Gorilla Monsoon is their favorite wrestler of all time.
There's no one.
I bet you somebody's out there.
I'm pretty sure he never actually wrestled a match.
Gorilla was a pretty big star in the, I don't know, a long time ago. I mean, what do you want? We're 90s marks. We were 90s marks.
Yeah, but
Fuck Gorilla Monsoon.
Job him out. Job him out.
We're going to put Gorilla Monsoon in a match.
Put him in the War Games match.
We'll have Dink go over Gorilla Monsoon.
Yeah, it'd be a better use of Gorilla Monsoon.
All right, next segment.
Oh, Professor, you don't know anything about wrestling history.
You said Gorilla sucks. You never wrestled a match.
I don't give a shit. Go back to your 1950s WWE Network subscription.
There are dozens of Gorilla Monsoon fans in nursing homes all across the country listening to this podcast right now that are furious that you've insulted them.
I'm sure Gorilla Monsoon's Pro Wrestling Tees shop is just making lots of money.
All right, moving on. Next segment. This is our main event. It's The Undertaker versus Yokozuna. Scores of 78. It's a B-rated match. Pretty solid match here. Has fantastic heat and great wrestling. All right, so Yokozuna is part of a match with great wrestling, but he loses via tombstone. So The Undertaker is going to tombstone Yokozuna.
He picks him up.
Yes.
Turns him.
Yes. Now I'm going to elaborate on the actual finish here. So what actually happened was The Undertaker gets Yokozuna up for the tombstone. Yokozuna reverses it by flipping backwards and gets The Undertaker into the tombstone. And The Undertaker then flips it once again and tombstones Yokozuna. So,
that's impressive.
Yeah, so a great display of agility here.
I heard this was a very high-flying match.
It was. It was. Yoko at one point went for a 5-star frog splash. It didn't work.
Off the second rope.
Off the second rope, yeah.
He couldn't make it to the top one.
We need to check out The Undertaker's gimmick, because it says The Undertaker is not suited to his gimmick.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem to be hurting him all that much, but he definitely is going to take a penalty for it. But the match suffers because there's not enough selling involved, and it suffered from a lack of psychology. So neither one of these workers great sellers, which I think really sells The Undertaker short, actually. I think he probably was a better seller than this game is giving him credit for.
The dude pretended he was dead for like 30 years.
Yeah, I mean, he sold the dead man gimmick pretty solid.
Yeah.
So, Yoko, I'll agree with Yoko on that one. I'll agree that Yoko may not have been the best seller.
Well, I don't know. Like when he fell on his back and just like took deep, heavy breaths, like that was real. Like he was struggling.
That's true. That's true. He was struggling. He was selling that he couldn't breathe well, very well.
So I think I mentioned either on the last one we did here or somewhere else that Yokozuna was like the only place he could wrestle was in Jersey.
Yes, you did.
So to follow that up, at some point in like 1998, Heyman wanted to bring in Yokozuna to ECW. And he was going to job Yokozuna out to Spike Dudley. But because Yokozuna couldn't get cleared in any state, they were never able to do it.
Now, do you think Yoko would have done the job to Spike Dudley?
He needed money.
All right, that's true. We've all done some crazy things for money.
Yeah. Who wouldn't job to Spike Dudley?
That's true.
For $50. For $50.
$50. Well, either way, Paul Bearer here is not suited to his gimmick either. So we may have to investigate The Undertaker and Paul Bearer here and see if we can tweak the gimmick a little bit, or maybe change it. All that and more in our creative meeting, which will be posted this coming Wednesday. You can catch that on iTunes or Podomatic.
If only there was someone else who could be The Undertaker.
You know, I hear that there's a local dentist who's trying to break into professional wrestling. His name is Isaac Yankum, I think. And maybe we could book him as The Undertaker.
He's a good dentist. I looked at his Yelp reviews.
Was he good?
5 stars across the board.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so there you go. We might have to just investigate this dentist a little bit, or what we could do is we could just have Jeff Hardy become the new Undertaker. I mean, again, you'll have to listen to our creative meeting to get that. But regardless, either way, Undertaker gets an 87 here. Another good match from the Undertaker. Yokozuna pulls a 77. The Dibiase wants to end the Undertaker storyline. That storyline has advanced with this segment as well. It's a pretty solid close to our show here. It's a 78. It gets us a B. We're going to close out here. We're going to go to our next segment. Oh, of course, I almost forgot. It's our post-show main event here. Billy Kidman pulling double duty. The crowd, he performed so well in the War Games match that the crowd wanted him back. So he takes on Chris Kanyon in a post-show match. And actually, Chris Kanyon and Billy Kidman have great chemistry. And it showed in their performance. He pulls a 29 grade. So essentially another tryout for Billy Kidman here. And he actually doesn't do too bad. He pulls a 31 grade. Professor, I know you were excited for the Chris Kanyon Billy Kidman post-show match. It sends the crowd home on a high note. What's your take on that match?
I think what happened was the crowd really loved a spot where it was Duke the Dumpster Droese versus Kidman. And they said, let's give him that match again. And like Kanyon just kind of showed up because no one could tell the difference. And, you know.
That's true. That's fair. You know what I noticed about Duke the Dumpster? I'm pretty sure his ring gear was the same jumpsuit that the WWF cameramen were wearing.
Well, that dude was a legitimate
He was a
garbage man.
He was a garbage man.
He was a garbage man. Like he wrestled on
time.
He wrestled on Raw on Monday, then he had a shift on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Occasionally he'd get a Sunday off. He could work the pay-per-view. Then guess what? He's back to work.
Yeah.
40 hours a week.
Just to feed a family.
Just to feed his dumpster family.
It was, God, 94 WWF was a better time. It just was. You got repo men running around. You got garbage men running around. You got clowns.
I loved Repo Man. Loved Repo Man.
I remember, I believe it was the very first episode of Monday Night Raw. The whole episode revolved around Repo Man stealing Savage's hat and Randy Savage spending the whole show trying to get it back. Like,
Go ahead. The Repo Man, I think, is the inspiration behind the box for Cookie Crisp.
That's actually a good point. It's a good point. I think
that's why I'm the professor. I bring this knowledge to the podcast.
You bring a well-prepared, well-researched knowledge to this podcast and to this YouTube series, and for that, I am thankful.
I am 100% accurate. Challenge me, Marks. Challenge me.
Challenge me, Gorilla Monsoon, Marks.
I'm coming for the gorilla.
Alright, let's end our show here, see what we got. I kind of like this. I think we had a pretty good show. I'm hoping it pulls an 80, because, good lord, I just want to stop losing popularity. I feel like I say that every single episode, though. But let's see where we are. A 72! Come on! I don't know why we're not scoring well. Apparently we use Crooked Dick Johnny Hogg too much, and we use Dick the Hammer too much. Lance Storm was used too much. They're all in the pre-show. How can we use them too much?
Well, they were in a 25-minute match.
On the pre-show, it's not supposed to affect our grade. Well, either way, we pull a 72. It gains us popularity in 12 regions, loses us popularity in 11 regions. I'm not really sure what else we can do to get a better grade here. I think it's probably because we don't have enough high-rated storylines. If you're listening, if you're the guy that listens to this show, and you have some tips on how we might be able to gain popularity in all regions, please don't hesitate. Leave us a comment. Make sure you click subscribe. Professor, before we go off the air here, before we end our show, you have any final thoughts on this episode of Monday Night Raw?
I thought we put on a good show. I'm disappointed by the judges.
Yeah, so am I, actually. I'm disappointed by all these marks in the crowd.
You know, but I don't believe in the dirt sheets, brother.
Now, Meltzer doesn't know what he's talking about.
No.
But regardless, I think it was a good show. I think it advanced our storylines. I do think this is probably taking a hit. It doesn't say it here, but we don't have 2 storylines over 77 heat. So that's probably what's pulling it down. We are slowly building those up. But if we can stay in the 70s, I'll be alright with that. I'd like to get up into the 80s. It's better than our first 4 shows, which were in the 60s. But yeah, so that's going to do it for this week. That's going to do it for Monday Night Raw, August Week 2. We're building towards SummerSlam. We're picking up some steam. We're steadily getting better on the shows. If you want to, and you want to hear the creative meetings, they're going to go up every other Wednesday. We'll also be putting up all our Book It Better roundtables every other Wednesday, so you'll still get something uploaded to our iTunes or our Podomatic every Wednesday. This coming Wednesday is our creative meeting. In that creative meeting, we'll be outlining completely the post SummerSlam through Survivor Series and possibly into the Royal Rumble. We'll be getting our initial thoughts together for the winner of the Royal Rumble, and we'll begin kind of a rough outline of what we'd like to see for our WrestleMania card. So we'll be talking about our main event for WrestleMania, some very, very early plans for that, some early plans for how to get there, but we will be outlining and putting together everything from SummerSlam to Survivor Series, and most likely to the Royal Rumble as well. So you don't want to miss that. Head on over to iTunes. You can find us in the iTunes store. It's Book It Better. You can also head over to Podomatic. It's bookitbetter.podomatic.com, or you can search us on their search feature as well. Thanks for joining us. If you stuck it out for the last 30 minutes or so, we appreciate it. Leave a comment below. Leave a like. Leave a subscribe. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see in the future. And until next week, this is Book It Better.